Hello, and welcome to Super Geeks, Mycelial Network News. That is the name of our Star Trek Discovery reaction show, and it takes a lot of effort for me to say it because it's a lot of things to say.
It's a lot of syllables.
A lot of syllables.
I like how when he says he takes a deep breath afterward. You can hear him do it.
It's a sigh of relief. The show is on.
The show is on. With me today, as always, is George Silsby. That's your host. How are you doing today, George? I'm doing pretty well, George. How are you? Well, you're normally not that quiet, but let's move on to the next person. How are you doing, really, Carlos?
I'm doing great, and I'm glad both Georges are here.
I mean, you know, that's the way it is. Also with me today is Joe. How are you doing, Joe?
What a cliffhanger.
What?
What a cliffhanger?
Cliffhanger, because he asked him how he's doing, and then he's waiting to say. Come on, these are the jokes,
Thanks,
people.
Carlos.
Is that like the snail joke,
Thank you,
but
Carlos.
a little bit different worded? I mean, come on, Joe.
All right. I'm up.
So
Here's
that's
the
the
thing about
Stallone was in the
cliffhangers.
movie Cliffhanger.
Oh, God. Speaking of Arnold Schwarzenegger,
He was not in that movie.
we have Pantless Sean, who, by the way, is trying to imitate Arnold and get ready for some kind of a special thing. So, Sean, in your Arnold voice, how do you feel about not wearing pants right now?
It was very refreshing.
Okay. And, son, how do you feel about life? How are you?
I have to be honest, I prefer the quieter George, but, you know, that's just me.
I can be quieter.
There's a quieter George?
But if
Yeah,
I
you
do,
just heard it.
whispering.
No, that's not the quiet. That's the Amityville Horror Ghost George is what that is.
Yeah, but see, I'm already goth, so, I mean, it doesn't bother me.
I can always be quieter. But can you hear me? Could we turn down
I
the
don't
show?
believe that. I don't believe that.
It would be a massive effort, but I could do it if I was paid. Anyways,
There would be so much Adderall in that.
and beer.
Oh my. Bad combination.
Oh my God, no shit. All right, so tonight we are talking about Season 2, Episode 11, Perpetual Infinity. As many of you know, if you're listening to the show, you're probably also on the channel, the Real Super Geeks. And I'm going to be honest with you. On the reaction, live reaction, when the episode aired, I was pretty voiceful about how much I did not like the episode. Now, I would initially have given it...
And when he says voiceful, folks, he means livid.
Livid.
Dude screamed in text. I could hear him all the way.
But I didn't use caps.
It's true.
I did not use caps.
But that's how intense it was, that even in lowercase.
Mhm.
Whoa. I just posted many times that was like me saying, I'm going to rant. But I was very nice. I did not. But I did not. But I was very tempered with not using caps. So I would have originally given. Okay, on the first.
You were. I was concerned you were going to go out and start punching hobos. I mean, that's
All I'm going to say, George, is you are not completely exonerated.
The show is just
to be
begun.
honest. I thought George was hyperventilating at one point.
That's what I imagined. I imagined in my mind that that's what was happening.
Worst
I think it was.
ever. I quit Star Trek.
You compared it to, like, what was it you compared it to? Some, like, truly bad episode of Star Trek. What was it? It wasn't the Threshold one from Voyager, was it?
The long ladder.
I don't think I compared it, to be honest with you. I think I just said...
It was up the long ladder without the Irish people. That's what it was.
See,
Hi!
I actually liked that episode, so...
George, you're magically delicious.
Yeah. So I had a problem with the episode. I would have given it a 4. It's now up to 5.5. And I'll tell you why. All right. I'm gonna go first only to get it out of the way, and then you guys.
Good night, folks.
I'm gonna allow everybody to rip me apart. I don't have a problem with it. Here's my thing. Okay. I did a rewatch for the 3rd time. Okay. Here's the thing. I loved everything between No, I didn't actually. I didn't. There wasn't much I liked about this.
Wow.
Okay, so I was gonna say
I was gonna finish your sentence with a dirty joke, but you know.
you could. Well, okay.
I liked everything.
Every time I tried
lines.
to. Okay, I watched it 3 times. On the third viewing, which was maybe 2 hours ago, I kind of was gonna say, oh, I got a little emotional, maybe because I had had a beer. But no, I actually don't. It's the opposite. I said to myself, why is this episode so bad? And then
that's how we know you're drunk, because that's what my mother used to do when
I'm
she
actually
would get
not.
drunk.
But I was
now,
the first night. I'm not going to lie to you. The night that I reviewed the episode, I was. Tonight I'm not.
Well, that explains why you were so intense.
That
Good
is
Lord,
true.
I was like, I've never heard him react like this before.
I know. But the thing was, I was very disappointed because of the B plot about Leland. Let me finish before you guys jump in, okay? Just bear with me, okay? In order to properly, please let me get my. Just let me say it, and then you can jump in and destroy me if you want.
I'm not going to destroy you, but what I do
Leland,
want to say, though,
the whole Leland B plot about him being in control, and I called it. Like, it wasn't like I feel great about the fact that I called this. I even asked you, Carlos, last week. I said, "Hey, Carlos, could it be like that episode of Travelers where the AI went into what's his face's brain?" And you were like,
"Yeah," and I
maybe.
agreed with you.
He poked the little things poked his eyes, and I thought that's how the nanites got in there, and I knew that was probably the case. Now that doesn't by itself. I know that. Bear with me. I'm almost done. Bear with me. Well, I'm not almost done, but just bear with me. I felt like it was too tropey, too cliche. Leland as an actor, guy's great, but here's my problem: the whole B plot with Burnham and her mom. I mean, technically that's the A plot, I guess you could say. Yeah, it is actually. I'm sorry. I'll switch it off. Leland and Control is B, and Michael and her mom is the whole point of A. As far as the acting goes between her and Giorgio and the whole everything with her mom, I if that was a separate episode, I would give it a 7. But it wasn't a separate episode, so I have to judge this episode by this episode. And to me, when you throw in the whole Control, Leland, and everybody trying to figure that out, and how it ended, I can't give it a high rating. I'm giving this episode a 5.5. I actually went up from my original, which it mainly is because of
because
that.
he sobered up.
Well, you ain't wrong, but Leland and the Control thing just was too much. I thought everything else was great. It was almost like the director. By the way, I don't know who directed this episode, but it wasn't me, and it wasn't Jonathan Frakes, that's for sure. But they really combined two things that should have been separate. I felt like...
Except the whole plot of this episode was they had to be combined to work.
Right, it had to be.
It wasn't a, there was no real B story.
I'm going to allow for the fact that Carlos might be right. But at the same time, honestly, I'm being honest. I've watched it 3 times now. One of them, I was sober. And I think that was the second time.
Well, 1 out of 3 ain't bad.
Okay, so on the third viewing, half the way through the episode, I'm like, this is a great episode. I was so wrong. I'm going to go online and apologize to everybody. And I did. I made a post. And then afterwards, I got to the next half of it, and I went, oh, no, fuck, I was right.
So, okay, I'm going
to... Wow, this is like a real emotional roller coaster, George.
I went through a journey through this time.
I feel like George having bipolar disorder in 1 episode.
I feel like
I actually think Son might be right on that one.
I feel like this is an episode of VH1's Surreal Life, and I'm enjoying this thoroughly. I'm going to just say before I get into talking about the episode, I'm going to actually let you guys talk about it first. But I have a thing in life about I categorize people into basically 2 different categories, and that is people that I know I would love to drink with, and people that I definitely do not want to drink with. With George, I'm at about a 5.5 right now. That's about where I am.
I'm so much funner in real life. I'm telling you.
I was at a 4 earlier, but I'm up to about a 5.5.
Yeah, but in which direction though?
So George is your perpetual infinity.
Ah, shit.
Yes, exactly. So
I want to hear Joe's opinion because he's the quietest of us. Joe?
The floor is yours, Joe.
It's the only episode I've watched twice.
Ah, shit.
And
Aha!
it's because
Now
of
that's
one
what
word.
I want to hear.
One word. Michael's mom said, "Preserving the timeline."
That's not one word.
That's 2 words, but you know,
It's
you get
three
what I'm
words.
saying.
Preserving the timeline.
That's 4 words. I just counted it with my fingers. It's 4.
Okay, let's say one phrase.
You know,
Phrase can
and
be several words.
you are not even a victim of Common Core math, so I don't even know what's going on here. What?
It's insanity.
Wait. Before we move on to anybody else, I need Joe to clarify because he's blowing my mind, and my mind's easily blown right now.
That's yes.
Explain preserving the timeline.
Yeah, explain
All right.
yourself.
So it goes all the way back to when Michael's mom brought the survivors from World War III to Terrelysium. There's someone in that group that's vital to timeline, and I think that at the end of the season, something's going to reset.
Well, we know that Terrelysium is significant.
Yep.
That's probably where she went back to.
We know that she saved it, but she didn't explain why. Her mom kind of.
Oh my God, guys! It just hit me. Okay, I think I know what's going on. Okay, so the planet that we've been calling Terrelysium all this time.
No, she called it Terrelysium too.
Well, no,
On the show.
we have been calling Terrelysium all this time. Is it possible that in 1,000 years, at least in that alternate future, that in that 1,000 years in the future, one of those dudes is actually the dude that jumped ship and was on the was in the episode Calypso?
Well, no, because he was
that-
another race. He was another planet.
No, he was human, but he was from a
Different
different.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and he was a soldier in a different war.
And Son's not wrong because that was 950 years in the future. That's very close.
Yeah,
She actually might be onto something there.
I think this 950 years definitely.
That is significant.
Yes, right. I don't think
So honestly,
there's
son, I
any-
think you
right.
actually tracked that on the right trajectory. I think you're a trajectory. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, there we go. Okay.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Sean.
I think it's really weird.
Well, I think this episode's going to go a little awkward tonight reviewing for us because it's kind of difficult to go. I think it's a little difficult to go scene by scene on this, unless you really want to, George.
No, I don't. I didn't actually make notes. I said this.
I kind of like the.
Oh, so you were lying about having episodes?
No, I have notes.
No,
I just didn't take the notes scene by scene.
George has notes on his hate. That's all. Okay.
Okay.
So
True. Hated it.
Yeah, actually, yeah, right.
Hated it.
he's got 2 copies.
I made 2 notes about what I liked about
I
it,
hate
and then the rest was like,
Hated it.
So, well, one of the first things that caught my attention, and this is, I don't want to be these people because I cannot believe that the producers are going to be this cheap in doing this. But by God, the first thing he says is that struggle is pointless. What does that sound like?
Oh no.
Yep.
No.
I've had more than one person say the Borg thing. No.
I do want to point out. I do want to point out from the standpoint of the entire episode itself, this could be an alternate timeline.
It is.
I'll get into this later, but yeah, it's a problem I have.
Because, so it's entirely possible that he could be the beginning of the Borg, and that would never happen.
No, he's not.
Yeah, and I hope not, because all of that is basically Battlestar Galactica, is what that becomes. So we created the Cylons, I mean, I'm just...
Now you have to start ragging
hold on.
You have to start ragging on Discovery for being derivative, huh?
No. Everything that's robotic or AI related is going to seem somewhat similar. That's just nature, but it's not the Borg. It's not.
For one thing, the Borg have a completely different
philosophy.
goal.
Total different. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and the Borg were clear that they, in Voyager, because this is what we have to do now. We have to get our Borg history from Voyager. It hurts, but it's true.
Also, remember this. I'm sorry to cut you off, Sean. Let
me finish.
Go ahead.
She says that they were once biological, and they started off as biological and enhanced themselves, is what she says in Voyager. That's what the Borg Queen says. So that does not align with this notion that
at all.
Right, exactly. I threw it out
again. That's why this is an alternate timeline.
Son, hold on. Control's goal. Look at her mom, Dr. Burnham. She went into the future, 950 years. You see video of her standing on the ashes, as she says, antimatter explosions, all this other stuff. The Borg their goal is not to destroy all life. Their goal is to assimilate it.
We're putting intentions on a thing that hasn't even declared its intentions.
It's got nothing to do with the Borg, so let's just immediately stop talking about it.
I'm not talking about the Borg. I'm talking about Control itself. You're literally putting intentions into the programming of the bot that hasn't even declared its own intentions yet.
I thought that was already established, that its intention was to wipe out sentient life.
No, it declared exactly what its intentions are.
Yeah,
in that whole dialogue with Leland.
We've only seen those intentions from the future. Its intentions at this moment are...
that's not true, son. Control has that conversation with Leland in which Control says exactly what it's looking for.
Look, Control is a contrived. It's a tropey Mass Effect like thing. Anybody who's played the game Mass Effect will know what I'm talking about. It's actually
rogue AIs go back way before Mass Effect.
They do. I get that. I'm just saying, Discovery's not inventing the wheel on this.
Nobody's claiming that they are.
No, you're not reinventing the wheel with sci-fi at all. I mean, that's not really the point. I mean, when we talk about, again, I don't want to bring up the
rogue AI is just so derivative, isn't it?
It is, but it's everything in Star Trek is derivative. That's not the point. I mean, science fiction is a completely derivative.
It's how it's handled.
Genre.
It's not about whether it's new.
It's how it's handled, right? Exactly. My complaint about the Orville, because I know that's why I'm getting my tits twisted about this. My complaint about the Orville is not that it's derivative; it's that it's a copy. That's the difference. Okay?
Exactly.
So I'm just like.
But I love the last two episodes.
Yeah, I know. But, so, I mean, for me, okay, let's talk about some of the positives. I'm not going to sit there and go, I'm sitting there telling everybody, online and here.
I actually...
Hold on, let me just say a couple positives before you pipe up. Because I want to just say it. Okay, there were some positives about this episode. In fact, there were quite a few. My reason for giving it a 5.5 is not because I hated it. If I really hated it, I would go below 4. I didn't. There were some great things about this episode. I'll give you an example. I loved how much we confirmed that Giorgio and her mom knows which Giorgio she is. She confirmed that she loves Michael. She looks at her like, if I have to have another mother to love my daughter, I know that's a lot to swallow, but it's like, I would choose you because you are, I know, I've seen it. So she's telling the audience and her, you don't know how good you actually could be. You sacrificed yourself for my daughter. I've seen it. And so we all been talking about this on the show for several episodes now about how we've been watching this evolution of this character. And basically what Dr. Burnham said was, I'm confirming right now, you don't even know how good you really are, how much of a heart you really have. And
the best way that she communicated that, actually, I mean, she made a speech about it, but you got it from the first line when she says Philippa.
Yeah.
Yep.
And we also saw it in action. Hatred. Go ahead.
She went all. What I loved about it was Mycelial got to go all Crouching Tiger,
Yeah.
Hidden Dragon. It was fucking great. I loved it. I was like, I am really starting to like this character. You know how much I hated her, but I am really starting to like her now.
You said that.
I've always loved her, and I love her even more.
Yeah. I love this. I mean, it's pretty clear that.
Okay, I think we know where you stand now, George. Let's hear what.
Yeah, Sam, what were you about to say? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay, so this episode, I have to agree with George at one point. This episode definitely shows there's been a change in the writing room, because this episode is kind of all over the place with like contradictory stuff in and of itself. Like from the opening, the very opening of the show, we find out that apparently mitochondrial DNA is not necessarily 100% distinguishable from person to person, but it's also the most consistent type of DNA residue, because that's how they pegged that was Burnham in the first place. What?
I mean, they had to science explain, I guess you could call it, the conceit from last episode that
I already explained that. I explained that better than Discovery did.
Yeah. I mean, it works though from a expositionary point of view. They knew that people were going to assume that it was Michael, and they threw it around. They sort of twisted the expectation. We talked about that last episode. Joe.
Wait. Sun wasn't done yet. She was just agreed on that one point.
I mean, I've got like a list of notes about the whole episode itself. Not like a big, huge list, but we find out 800 missions as the Red Angel.
Oh, yeah.
841.
Somebody watched the episode recently.
Then confirmed Leland was still alive the whole time and still Leland before being assimilated. Yes, I'm going to call it assimilated because that's what happens.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because that entire sequence, the only thing going through my head was nanomachines, son.
Yep.
So this whole different, the control being in control of Leland, Giorgio knows Leland is different, because he's certainly assertive. Confirm the signals have fuck all to do with the Red Angel, like I've been saying all along.
We do have a mystery, though.
That is the mystery.
No, there's another mystery which we haven't brought up, which is who sent the burst. Because remember, she says she didn't do it.
That's what she just said.
That's what I just said.
Right.
That's literally what I just said.
Sorry.
She's like, did you not hear me? I said, I don't know what the fuck it's about. She was really forceful about
it. I've been saying this the whole fucking time.
Do I stutter?
No, that's right. You have, son.
Oh yeah, you called that. You called a lot of things.
She did, actually. Yeah.
You're kind of been very good at being a prophet through this.
Now the thing is, though, let's clarify though. We don't know that they're unrelated. We only know that she isn't the one who sent them.
Right. So and you know what? I like this. Unlike Doctor Who, and I love Doctor Who, as anybody who watches the show, listens to the show knows. I like the idea of not knowing. Don't give me everything. Don't throw it all out. I think that we have a lot to learn. Now, a few episodes ago, is the time when they switched the showrunners and all that. And so there was a certain point in the show where once they switched showrunners, we're all supposed to understand that this is when things change. And like Sun said, in the writing room, my thing is that when they all got together and they said, hey, this is what's going on, we still have 3 more episodes, I think? I think it's 3.
Yeah, that's why I'm happy.
Okay, so they had to have aligned.
Sure, but that's exactly what happened last season too.
But we
thought things were wrapped up and there were still a few episodes to go. And
so alignment-wise,
there's
yeah. No, I hear what you're saying, Carlos. There's 3 more episodes that have to align, and my thinking is when they wrote these things that whatever's going on in this arc, they've been pretty awesome. Except, go ahead, Sean. What were you going to say?
Well, I was going to say that this episode here was kind of like the end of the second act, is what it acted as, and then we're going to get our final act in these last 3 episodes, because we had our major plot revelation, right, and
then the Twisty McTwister,
exactly, and now we're finding out that there's a bigger plot revelation to come yet. So yeah.
So
I'm just
confirmed. Called this one too. Spock being a mutt is the only reason the Red Angel could communicate.
Yep.
I really actually. I'm glad.
Although we agreed with it. We agreed with you on that one.
We agreed with you on that one, though, right? Yes.
Wait a minute. Then they fucked it up by going right back to dyslexia and not dysphasia.
No, they combined them. They combined the two. They said
no. When Amanda was talking about the stuff in that episode, she called it dysphasia. They said it was like dyslexia. Now, what Burnham's mom said was flat out his dyslexia.
Oh,
yeah, but she's just. She's not a doctor in that field, so she was rounding up.
It's forgivable. It's not. We don't have to go into the exact...
I don't have a problem with that. She wasn't diagnosing him. She just knew he was the only one who could understand her.
Yeah, and I mean, I would. There's so many things I could ask, like of the show, like explain this, explain that. But I just don't. I mean, one of the unwritten things is the suit. In order for her to enact 90% of the things that she did, for example, saving the Terra Elysium, okay? The suit didn't have all that power, the abilities it had from the beginning. It had to have upgraded throughout her journeys, but yet that exposition was never really actually said on screen.
We don't need it at this point.
I agree
it's not
with
really
you.
Necessary.
I agree with you. I'm just saying, like, it's one of those things you don't need the exposition, because she's traveled through time. What? In the beginning, it was 950 years. So is she saying?
Yeah, but that doesn't mean she experienced all of those 900.
Right, I know, but no, I know that because we saw her first.
Yeah, she's not the Krenim.
We saw her first jump in when Burnham, her daughter, was watching her logs.
Yeah.
When she like the first jump.
Yeah,
she was in space. So what I'm trying to say is that we know she's been through a lot. So my question is...
No, that's super clear. I mean, she knows Pike's history, obviously, and what his future... I mean, so she knows a lot, clearly, because she's jumped back and forth through time a lot.
Now, let's talk about something that Joe just reminded me about. Again, we don't have any proof that I'm going to be right about the wheelchair moment. But did you notice that scene when... the guy in the wheelchair.
Scene following, yeah.
Hold on, there was a guy in a wheelchair that's been on the show before.
Right,
He wheeled by at a certain point during the episode. I thought it was almost like a sort of a subtle message. It was kind of interesting.
Well, yeah, of course it is, but that's as close as you're going to get to what you're looking for, George.
I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm just saying it was.
Yes, you did. You said it was going to happen.
Well, look, Wheelie went by at a certain point in the episode, and he's already been on the show, and I thought when he went by, it was very poignant. I thought it was very interesting that they chose that moment for the camera to focus on him wheeling by. I thought that was almost like, I don't know if it was an Easter egg or if it was just them foreshadowing, but it was just interesting.
I didn't really take it as that. I thought it was more just a nice Easter egg, only in the inclusive factor. That's it. I think.
Well, you combine that with what her mom said to Pike.
But it didn't just happen though. There was quite a bit in between. I mean, look, anything involving any episode with Pike, and you see a wheelchair, you can automatically make that connection. So I don't really see how that.
They did, but Sean, they spent a lot of time in that shot.
No, they didn't. It happened in the blink of an eye.
Actually, it took about.
I didn't even notice it the first time.
I want to. Okay, so I think you guys are. Well, no, George is taking this way to an extreme, and you guys are feeding him. Stop it.
That's true. I agree. We're not feeding you anymore, George.
Don't feed the troll.
This entire scene to me felt like a setup for. Oh, he's going to tell the captain that shit's going on. But that never happened because the conversation that was going on was between Leland and Tyler talking about downloading the sphere data to the Section 31 ship when Wheelie just goes by.
You might be right. I just felt like the angle and the shot, to me, I mean, I'm not...
I think we're wasting a lot of time on this, you guys. It's seriously.
Really?
It's like not important.
But again, to me, it shows that there's this weirdness in the writing room because it's another. To me, that whole scene felt like it was set up to be something else later in the episode, and it never happened. Just like Mrs. Security Lady is stalking Arium the whole fucking episode.
You really wrapped up on that. She's awesome. I'm sorry. No,
I'm not saying she's not.
No, but she's right about that.
There was this huge build-up and no fucking payoff.
I agree with her on that. That really was kind of,
there was a payoff. She ejected her from the air. Well, she airlocked her
after playing stupid.
Yes, I think that's what I agree with. It's like,
after her suspicions were confirmed, which they were.
Well, yeah, I mean,
but in the worst possible way.
Yes, in the worst possible way.
There's no. I mean,
my suspicions were confirmed after I left you alone for like 15 minutes.
Yeah, there was no preemptive action by our chief of security on that one. Is the problem? That's the thing. Is what Sun's getting at.
And especially
I
after
agree with that.
telling Pike specifically, I'll keep an eye on her. After Arium said, I volunteer to go.
All right, look. So
you guys, we keep talking about 3 episodes. Why can't we talk about this episode?
Yeah, I was about to actually say
that. I got cut off with the wheelchair debate.
I agree, and we shouldn't be wasting time on that either.
But that was part of this episode.
I know.
So did anybody else notice that Mama Burnham suddenly became Dr. Soren?
I did. I did.
In what sense?
I did. It's the first thing I thought. And when she starts talking about
time is savage.
Time is a living thing and it has its own design.
Holy shit, are we in the fucking Nexus?
That's right. I totally forgot about that.
And actually, I kind of liked it because I'm hoping. I'm like, I hope that line about time having its own agenda and being alive. I hope that rears its head again. Maybe that's where these bursts are coming from. Maybe time itself is doing it.
Whoopi Goldberg. Yeah, for sure.
Wait. Educate me.
Maybe. I don't know. It's still... I get the feeling that the way they're talking about time is... it's not that it's sentient. It's just... It is what it is, and when you disrupt it, it tries to force things back.
I suddenly realize now, throughout this conversation, why I didn't like this episode. Do you guys want to know?
Not really.
You're not really,
but you're gonna not really, but you're gonna tell us anyway. So
I'm gonna tell you, but you're not gonna like it. It's Burnham, Michael Burnham. I love the actress. I think she did a fantastic job. But I'm actually getting weary of her as a character. I love the actress.
Tully had her shut up Wesley moment on this episode, and I loved it. I thought it was great.
She's just too full of herself. I love that Pike is too passive. I want him to like jump in more often.
Wants
like
Lorca back.
Yeah, I mean, no, I don't. I'm just saying.
It sounds like you do.
No, I don't. No, there's a difference between being passive and being a little bit aggressive.
I don't think he's being passive. I think he listens to people before he makes decisions.
Barnum is like way too. I mean, yeah, it's her mom, it's her brother. I get all this.
All right, she had a.
I'm having a problem with her.
I did not when what's his name? Culver says that she wants the captain to come down, and Burnham jumps in. Okay, we'll be right down.
Thank you for bringing up Culver, because in a minute I'm going to talk about him.
I was like, that was so forced, and I didn't like that at all. I was like, oh my god, please. But I mean, then they just went to explaining why, which was fine. But I get why you have misgivings about Burnham in this episode, Michael. That is.
Colbert. This is the first. Okay, I'm glad you brought that up, Sean, because I want because I didn't take notes because I wanted to sort of freelance this episode.
I think
just footloose, freestyle, whatever. Yeah, whatever term you want to use. Colbert it's his first time back in the white uniform, like doing his doctor thing, and he was amazing. He only had a little scene with Michael, and putting his hand on her shoulder and saying, you're not tripping. It was your mom. It was a great moment. That one scene, I loved it. I like how they're building up to him. I'm really appreciative of Discovery. Not only resurrecting the character, but the way they're handling it. Like, they're not like jumping in like, no big. They're handling it like,
yeah, it's not a reset.
Yeah, it's like, I came back to life, and I'm still trying to figure myself out. And then he's back, and now he's finally back at his job. And his first moment to express that is a significant one, where he's trying to tell Michael, like, by the way, that was your mom, and she's not dead. And hey,
but that's not really the point. The point is, your mom has gone through what I've gone through, and so I know why she's acting the way she is.
The fact you had to say your mom is kind of funny at all. I'm just saying.
Your mom.
What? Oh.
No, but it honestly though, you are correct. But I thought the acting wise,
I mean that's why I pulled it off.
It was a good scene.
No, there was. I mean, from an acting perspective, there were a lot of great scenes in this episode. The Spock and Burnham scene just before they start playing chess was a really great scene.
Yeah.
I actually liked the way Pike dealt with Burnham in this episode.
Oh, I did too.
Pike is just so much gravitas. That's what I love about him.
They can't.
Yeah, he's not reactionary at all. He has a command, if you will.
You know what's funny? It's funny you said that, because we know Pike, but we don't. And Carlos and I, a long time ago, last summer, we were on an episode talking to a friend of ours, Oren, and we were talking about, well, we don't really know, because Oren pointed out, Pike said, let's have some fun. That doesn't sound like Pike. And I said, we don't really know Pike enough to know he wouldn't say that. And the truth is we don't know Pike. We're getting to know him. But
except you kind of saw him have fun when he was with Spock on the planet in the pilot episode.
Yeah, because
they both smiled at each other holding the plant.
But most of that episode he was depressed.
Yeah,
right.
That was one glimmer of happiness to hold on to.
Oh, sure, but you can't extrapolate an entire psychological profile from that.
I mean, we could talk about the whole Spock being happy in the flower episode of the TOS episode, where he had a blonde girlfriend or whatever when the flowers made him all he beat the shit out of Kirk. Yeah, exactly. There's been more than one time.
I should just make up episode names and see if he says, yeah, exactly.
No, I know which one you're talking about. And
I saw this clip from one of the Harry Mudd episodes where they're trying to confuse the robots, the androids, with logic. Yeah, I'm Mudd. And Spock has this great line, and he says, logic is a bunch of wildflowers that smell very bad.
Speaking of which, I actually think that Spock had the best line in this episode, which was, I like science. Yep. That was a great line. I loved it. That moment was like, okay, I see what you're doing, Ethan Peck. Good job.
I love that. Here's the thing. My favorite moments, I think a lot of people's favorite moments in Spock in the franchise have been his deadpan comedy lines. I mean, really, Spock is probably, in the history of the franchise, one of the best comedians on the show. It's so ironic to say that, but he really is. It's just so deadpan and so and so funny. He's like, I always think that Quark is a great comedy character, but Quark is not Quark without Odo. You need the straight man, and he is such a great straight man for delivery.
And it's funny. Yeah, Spock is that one line. Like he reminds me of
No, it's not. No, it's not.
Sheldon.
The whole setup for that one line is he does his own technobabble. Everyone stops and stares at him, gobsmacked that he just suddenly came up with this idea, and he goes, "I like science."
Comedy is all about timing. Yep. It really is. I mean, look at any of the episodes where I said something funny. It's all about the timing.
No,
Yes.
It's
yes,
not.
No,
for,
it is.
For you, it's not the. For you, it's not the timing. For you, it's not. It's never
yes,
the time.
Is.
It's
the absurdity.
Oh, both.
It is the absurdity.
When I said Raoul, I stopped and I said, "Raoul, can I ask you a question?" He said, "What? What, sir?" And I said, "Is it a coincidence your name rhymes with bowel?" Everybody's like went crazy. And here's the thing: it was timing. And at the time when I said it.
Are we really deconstructing our own jokes?
We are.
We
are doing
episodes
that.
Okay,
ago.
so did anybody notice that?
Here's the reality. When he usually says Raoul, he's usually talking to Carlos.
You mean me?
Oh my God!
Exactly.
I can't believe you left yourself open for that one, George.
Well, we've got one Hispanic tonight, so.
Did anybody?
Oh, I'm sorry, Joe. Your last name makes me wonder.
So did anybody else notice that the end of this episode was kind of Armageddon-ish?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Like, holy shit.
I do
take care. Giorgio, take care of my baby girl. Baby girl, I can't come home.
Timeline.
Like, holy
don't
shit.
Close my eyes. Don't want to fall asleep because I
know. I expected that to start
fucking
playing at some point.
Shit.
Wow. You like that? Wow. Wait till I do it as Arnold.
She's my favorite character because her name is Giorgio. And yet she's Asian.
See, you guys were having this conversation.
And here we go.
No, we're not going to go. I'm just saying.
You guys were having
Probably
this conversation a while ago about Giorgio, about Giorgio being the mother figure that Mama Burnham puts her faith into, and it's like, really? Just because Giorgio is able to do a whole bunch of shit that Amanda can, you put more faith in her than Amanda?
No. She puts faith in her because, son, did you not watch the episode? She saw her sacrifice. She said it. You sacrificed yourself for my daughter. She's seen her, and she clarified that I know it's you, not your mirror self. And also, although I hate, this is my biggest issue with the whole episode. This is the reason I originally was going to give it.
This is it, finally.
Yeah,
I'm just
was the fact that I don't buy the whole Leland control thing. Because there was a major plot point. I don't buy. We already knew the actor was.
You're gonna have to tell us more than don't buy.
All right, so
tell us what about
it
doesn't work.
And I'm about to tell you, the character was already shady. Okay, we don't buy that he's more shady. It's like you already don't trust him.
No, that's the whole point. That Control chose him, and he said
no, it wasn't why Control chose him.
It was, George. He literally said, "Because you're this kind of shady dude, you're the perfect guy for me."
You're the guy who can hold multiple truths at once.
Okay, well, okay, but I don't buy it. You guys can say,
okay, George,
that's what
not
they
a
said,
reason.
But I just don't buy it. Because I wanted
here's the
more trustful character to be.
He can have that opinion all he wants. We don't have to have his reasons.
You don't have to agree with me.
Well,
right, I just wanted to hear your reasons.
Well,
you're entitled to your opinion. But all you keep saying is that you don't buy it, and then we ask you why, and then you give us this reason that's not actually the reason because the episode says the opposite.
Finish my point. Let me finish. I don't think, as some would say, let me finish. So
yes, go ahead, George.
Okay, so I just feel, for me, this is just my opinion, that Leland was too predictable as far as, okay, Control chose him for multiple reasons, whatever. When the actor who portrayed Leland, presented the fake Leland, I didn't buy it. I didn't feel like an AI would be able to pull off this level of camouflage that he was. He
wasn't.
I'm missing this entirely because this is now. Okay,
I'm not even done, but I'll let you talk.
But dude, the AI went through a whole thing about exactly why he couldn't pull it off with anyone else but him.
But Leland. I mean,
Right.
it's explicitly stated, George.
And even then, he couldn't pull it off because the first one who was suspicious was who? Giorgio. Because
And I
Leland,
didn't
you're
buy that.
certainly
I thought he
assertive
was
today.
acting. As far as acting, I'm doing air quotes right now. Acting, I thought the AI was too good. I thought it was unrealistic. I'm sorry. That's just how I felt.
I felt it was a little off, but in a situation where he's not doing much but barking orders at people that are not on the ship, I
think
felt
we're too specific.
Okay, here's the thing. My biggest problem was the very beginning of the episode, which I thought was a huge plot hole. I am surprised nobody mentioned this.
Which part?
Oh, I know what you're going to say.
Well,
how did he get in that chair?
Chair, right?
Yeah,
that's my question.
I mean, look, like I said, it's
so we don't. So no thoughts on that, George?
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean that's.
I honestly think that there was some nanomachines already pre-deposited. How else could his eye turn colors and then change back to being Leland?
Yeah.
With only
that's going to be the that's the retcon, and I think
that's
the frame we're going to stick with it.
Look, guys, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I think that was the primary insertion to give control of Leland's body just enough to get him into the chair and finish the job.
Yeah.
And I feel like, well, okay, I did notice because again, I've watched it. I know Carlos about the same amount of times, 3 times. And I feel like I saw the red eye on the left side. I'm sorry, and to me it was like, okay, so these little 2 protrusions come out of that device and poke him in the eyes. I was not surprised that it turned out nanites got delivered on that scene.
It wasn't in his eyes.
That wasn't in his eyes. It was in his neck.
Oh yeah. You're right.
Yeah.
Okay, I remember now. Okay. Still, I mean...
Still?
Yeah, boy.
George,
either way, the AI took control. Like, it doesn't matter when it happened, whether it was when it was the eye poke or the neck poke.
I think
George is not going to let this go, so guys, stop feeding.
I can let it go.
It's like the wheelchair. It's like the wheelchair.
Stop feeding.
We're not...
keep on turning.
My last note on the entire
Sunsail
thing
keeps on churning
is actually the trailer for the next episode, because like last episode, it's insinuated again that there are 7 signals, and we're just now getting to the point where a new signal is showing up, meaning more than 7.
Yeah, that's true.
Yet it's being part. It's being considered part of the 7.
It's true. They have been. That's been a little mushy.
Aren't there 7 signs of the apocalypse?
Well, yeah, but 7 is a recurring philosophical number.
Okay,
so.
But see, here's the thing: all 7 signals showed up at the beginning, but yet they're acting like these 7 signals are only just now showing up. No, they showed up at the very beginning. But yet somehow those 7 signals are moving, and they're new now?
Throughout the Valley of Shadows.
Well, we don't... They need to clarify that. You're right. I mean, there's just not... It's not clear.
Just so you guys know, the next episode is called Through the Valley of Shadows.
Okay.
I mean, we don't know what that means.
Here's what I know. We haven't heard a joke from Joe in a while.
Yeah, Joe, what's going on?
I mean, well, George has been producing his own comedy, so, I mean...
It's true.
But Joe...
Is Joe still with us?
Joe's still with us. He chimes in to laugh.
There's his microphone's muted. Probably because he's going, "You people are insane!"
I mean, yeah, or he...
I keep picturing Carlos as the
talking.
grandpa on The Simpsons. I don't know why.
That did sound like Grandpa on The Simpsons. That's true.
Abe Simpson.
Old man yells.
Between my Abe Simpson and Sean's Arnold Schwarzenegger.
You're like only like 3.
Rate the episode.
Yeah.
8.5.
Whoa. Whoa.
That's
dude.
pretty high, Joe. You sure you know
That's
what
pretty
your bar
good.
is?
He rates it good because we know it's not real. This is going to disappear. The points don't matter.
Like this show.
It's
like our own show.
I rate our own episode 6.2 because of all the technical difficulty. No, Joe, really.
Okay, so 8.5. What were the high points for you, Joe? That mirrored an 8.5.
Well, timeline. The mom mentioned the timeline, and realizing that everything is going to reset. When she was separated from the suit, like, oh, like the suit was holding the timeline back, like, because she was jumping to every point in time. She was the reason that Control always won. And now, because she's separated from the suit.
Oh, I like your theory.
Me too.
Yeah.
It's like the Doctor in the TARDIS sort of thing. The suit was her TARDIS, right?
Yeah.
Joe,
so I wonder where she ends up. You know.
Well, Carlos, I'm going to ask Joe. Where was he when we were doing our Doctor Who show?
Who?
Probably in bed.
Yeah, exactly.
The Doctor and the TARDIS.
I mean, he's a dad. He's got kids to take care of.
No. He asked the question, who? Yeah, exactly. Where were you?
that was the joke. I got
it. And what about you, son? I know you've said a lot of things, but
you skip right over
clarify.
it.
Oh, wait. I thought.
You asked.
My review was not asking Joe what his.
Wait. Sean?
God.
Am I talking to you or am I talking to son?
Okay, well.
I don't know if she wears pants. We never ask her.
Yeah, but here's the thing. You mostly ignore Sean because you don't want to stare at him.
I don't
he's
want
not
to
wearing
know.
Just for the record, that wasn't me.
Sounded like you. It sounded like you.
All right, Sean.
We Hispanics all sound alike too.
Yeah,
right, exactly. Thank you, Raul. So, I'm actually. I thought I kind of feel the way Carlos does about this is that it reminds me a lot of what was happening last season around this time. There was just so much shit going on at once, and it took me 2 episodes or 2 viewings to actually, get a real sense of what's going on. I started looking for deeper clues, deeper meanings. One thing that caught my attention was she's got that time crystal thing in the back of the suit, right? And that thing gets busted during that big fight at the end. And yet, but still, she and the suit are both pulled through that vortex. Now, I thought that was only possible with the suit having that time crystal thing intact.
Normally, but in this case, because they trapped them there basically. Oh crap!
Who did we lose?
It was just Joe.
Oh, it's just Joe.
Oh, okay. I thought we all got disconnected again.
No, we're here.
Sorry. I'll start that part again. Yeah. So what happened though was that time snapped them back because they trapped them there. So once they got rid of that field, they snapped back to where they were.
Yeah, this was explained. This was explained. So let me lay this out.
Yeah, so that's what I was going for here is that now time is in control. It is what is the message I got.
No.
Yeah, I don't think that's true either.
So here's the linear event of this equation. She went forward in time because of the crystal. On the planet Terralesium, that one M-class planet that survived all of this stuff, the one planet she brought all those people to eventually, that planet, in her future, it survives because there's not this big, huge, sciencey stuff there.
Oh, I forgot about that. You're right.
But there is, because Pike gave them the fucking power cell. From Terralesium, she was able to establish.
True, but they had a
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Let me finish. From that future, that she created, and again, this is that whole bootstrap paradox bullshit going on. From that future, she was able to create an anchor point for the suit for all of her future jump points. That's
right.
what
was that her home
No,
base
she
that
said
was
that.
talking
She
about?
said that.
Right.
Was
From
that
her
Terralysium?
base? Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, she literally said that.
Okay.
All right, cool.
I didn't catch that
From
part.
her base on Terralysium is the anchor point, which pulls the suit back, which we saw from the Baul episode.
Yeah, that's why I said that we're gonna be going back to Terralysium.
Right.
Because we know that's where the suit and her presumably are both being yanked back to.
All right, so now that we're clear on that, I give the episode a 10. No, I'm fucking with you. I'm actually where Carlos is on this. I was at a 6 the whole time. The episode did its job. Let's put it that way. Okay, it wasn't great, and George, you make a very good point. We have been incredibly spoiled up to this point, and even up to I'd say up to episode 9, we were incredibly spoiled with the quality of this season so far. I wouldn't call these last 2 episodes clunkers. They're taking us to the final act of this story.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I agree.
And it just wasn't great. But
they're the loaner car while your real car's in the shop.
Perfect. Exactly. Yeah, it's really kind of a good scenario, considering a good explanation.
Look, I want to say this.
Usually,
real quick.
with my car, the loaner car is nicer than my car.
And look. For people that don't know, I love this show. I've been giving every episode a very generous rating because they've been really good.
Yeah,
I think people know that,
and we've been right, and I've been willing to overlook minor things about them.
But for once, I just don't.
It was kind of,
and I'm going to call it out. I'm just going to call it out. If I don't agree with an episode,
I'm not as nearly as passionate about it as you are. I'm like I said, I'm with Carlos. I like it was fine. Even though our ratings are so close, it's you're like at a 5.5. I'm at a 6, but I liked it, and you're where you're trying to be generous. I'm not really being generous. I did like it, but it wasn't one of the better episodes of the seasons. But it did its job. And there were some good scenes in it that I
it would have to really be horrible to go below 5 for me.
I think,
but it didn't do that. But
I think we're succeeded. I think with the character stuff, it really succeeded. The performances, and look, I want to bring this up because we haven't mentioned this, but her mother, Dr. Gabrielle Burnham, played by Sonia So, she's a fantastic actress. Again,
yeah, I agree.
She was amazing.
The acting between the two women was amazing.
She is a. I don't know if you guys are aware of this. She is I was a huge fan of The Wire. I brought this show up a few times before. She's an alum of that show. She was one of the most outstanding characters on that show for 5 seasons on HBO. And she brings a shit ton to the table. It was a treat when they unmasked her the last episode, and she was our Red Angel, and of course Dr. Burnham. It was great.
Sean, I'm glad you brought this up because I want to point out. She did mention she wants to save the father too. And who was the father? He was the actual husband of the woman Soneqa's the woman who plays
Sonequa Martin Green.
Yeah, that's her actual husband who played.
I didn't know that. That's cool.
I believe it was somebody brought that up. I think it was it was Joe, who's not here right now. But yeah, it was brought up that was her actual.
Kind of like the Doctor's Daughter episode where he's
actually
married.
In a little bit of a creepy...
In a reverse kind of way. There you go.
In a way. A little timey-wimey, a little weird. But, yeah, no, so that's great. But, when I first... The first 2 times I watched the episode, the first night that I watched it, I'm not going to lie, I had a couple of beers. But, it's like I was watching... We've established that. But I felt like it was just a little too cliche. There's certain things that were making me go, it just felt too much like.
Yeah, I mean, it was tropey. I'm fine with that. I had, like I said, my bigger problems with the episode were kind of that it was just a whole lot of shit going on at once and trying to string it back together.
If you have to take 3 episodes though to come to the conclusion that it's like not that bad, to me, I mean,
I wouldn't agree with putting it that way. I think we have to remember that we live in a different media landscape now. That's where true. We know that we are able to watch it again and again. So
that's a very good
creators
point.
are making a point of putting a lot of texture into these, and that's the word I would use to describe this, to really offer a lot of texture in these episodes that really do require multiple viewings to get everything. And there's nothing wrong with that. A lot of filmmakers do that. We're seeing it happen now on television because of streaming, because you do get the opportunity to see it again and again.
I feel privileged that I can watch this episode, like, back when Star Trek was on the air the last time, like 12 years ago, 13 years ago at this point, I couldn't just rinse and repeat it, like, at will, but we can now. But back then we couldn't. You know, we had to record it on VHS, and like myself, and then we could watch it again, and then we could analyze it. But you know what?
Well, it's been a long road getting from here to here.
It has. So let's give our final ratings, because I think mine might have bumped up a tiny bit since talking about this.
Since we started.
You know, he started yesterday at 4. By the time we started this episode, he was at a 5.5. I'm at a 6. Sean, you're at a 6. I'm at a 6.5. No, wait, where was I?
You were at 6, and I'm at 6 too. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, we've all had some technical.
Joe was at 8.5, which is amazing.
Yeah. Whoa.
Yeah,
it's the
Joe
only one he's seen twice.
Yeah, the one guy who's not here. The one guy.
He loves timelines. He's a timeline-aholic.
You know what? Joe got erased by the Red Angel. He's no longer in existence.
I didn't change. I'm not going to change my rating, but I got more of an appreciation for the episode just listening to Sun could come up, explain some things, make some connections here.
Yeah,
it's like fuck. At least somebody's been taking notes this season.
No shit.
Son, look, I'm the only type of. Look, I've watched Donnie Darko once and understood what was going on. Most people tell me they have to watch it like 3 times to understand what's going on.
All right, son. Well, then, therefore, I'm going to give you
2.
Son, because you did that, I'm going to start with you. And what would you rate this in your final figure? What would you rate this?
First, I'm the last George.
She is the last George.
Last, but not least.
We've all done our ratings.
And for the record, Joe is the second person not here.
Okay, but what is your rating? What is your final rating?
So, Raul, what is your rating?
Yeah.
The Baul.
Carlos, what is your Raul rating? No, I'm just kidding.
So, this episode is 5 for me, just straight 5.
All right.
I love this episode because it confirms so much of the stuff I've said, and I hate this episode because it's never going to be fucking canon.
Oh, I
disagree with that.
I disagree with that. I disagree with that. I don't think you're going to see a complete reset. Joe does, I think, but no, this'll be like, like First Contact and like
the causality paradox.
Yeah.
I can see her argument though, if I'm being honest, because
it's not going to be Year of Hell. It's not going to be the fucking Crenum reset.
Exactly.
I don't think it's gonna be like a complete reset either. But I definitely think the majority of this season is not going to have happened.
Oh, I don't agree with that.
Because we still have the discovery in the 1,000 years thing to deal with.
Yeah, but that's a whole other thing. There's so many ways you can get around that. I would be disappointed if you're right, son, because then it is a year in hell. And
but here's
which are 2 of the best Star Trek episodes ever, which is an amazing thing to say about Voyager, which is one of the worst Star Trek series ever.
Right. But it's one of the greatest episodes.
Except for the end. And the end just ruins it because it all goes away. And if they do that here, I'm going to have a problem with that.
But here's the thing for the whole second half of this season. They've telegraphed plainly what's going to happen. Project Daedalus.
No.
Turned out to be
Well,
the Red Angel.
here's the thing.
Listen, hold on, Sean. Before you say here's your thing, because I want you to say here's what your thing, without showing your thing, because you're not wearing pants.
It's showing whether you like it or not.
I mean, you're not. So I'm just saying.
Get to the point.
My point is that 950 years is not. That's what the mom said, right? That's the whole premise. Like 950 years, and the whole thing about that episode Calypso is that's 1,000 years. It's only 50 years more. So we've already talked about this, I know, but it's like I feel like it's just not a coincidence. This is too strong of a plot.
Yeah, we've covered this.
Yeah,
I think we're talking more meta here. We're talking more meta here.
Right.
We're talking about, what they're doing. The implications of this on is this going to make any difference? Is anybody going to remember?
Yes.
Okay.
And if they don't, then I will have a problem with this season.
So for about
Discovery.
4 or 5 weeks, they led us on to believe that Michael was the Red Angel. This was done intentionally. Okay.
I agree.
So my point on this is that we may think they're telegraphing all this right now, but I got a pretty funny feeling we're all going to be kicked in the teeth on that. We're,
I think they learned their lesson.
You say that.
I agree, Carlos.
I've been saying since we found out that the signals were this type of radiation that they didn't know what the hell it was. It was just radiation. That it was possible that the signals had nothing to do with the Red Angel. Turns out I was right.
But no, we don't know that you're not. We don't know that you're right. We just know that Dr. Burnham was not the cause of it. That's two very, very different things.
Yeah, and the other side of this is that
it could end up being Michael.
Even if that is the case, the point in this is that they set us up intentionally for us to believe that Michael was the Red Angel, and out of the blue came up with her mother being the Red Angel, something that was they didn't telegraph at all.
There's no way we could have guessed that, right?
Exactly.
Exactly.
This is kind of what I expect at the end here is that something's going to come out of left field that's going to completely shake up the whole thing. Is how I.
That's kind of what they promised.
I think, son. I think some of the things that you've predicted, I think will come true. But I think there's going to be a major twist that no one is going to see because we've had no setup for it at all. It's going to be a shocker.
Again, paralleling the structure of season 1, where all of a sudden they make it out, but they don't return to the present. They return 9 months into the future, and because of that, everything's changed. We're going to see a similar thing here, I think.
Yeah,
I think you guys are right. So let's wrap up the show. Carlos, where can people find you in the future, 950 years from now, on social media?
I'm going to be dancing a dance with an artificial intelligence on the USS Discovery. In the present, you can find me online at axmonitor.com, on Twitter at axmonitor, or at cpedraza, and on Facebook in the Axmonitor Facebook group.
And Sean, assuming you wear pants 950 years from now, where can people find you? Can they find you? Or your great-grandchildren?
Well, I'll probably be dead, but then again, maybe not. Who knows? But
Sean is eternal.
Yeah, exactly. Me and the Pantsus lifestyle. We are eternal. Our descendants will rejoice. But no, I haven't really thought that far ahead. I'm just trying to, I just want to get through this baseball season. That's where I'm at. So,
hashtag priorities.
I know that you guys don't think I actually used to play baseball a lot. I was a pitcher and a catcher, and I know don't do it. I know where you're going with this.
We weren't
too late. It is too late. We've already gone there.
I was always either a pitcher or a catcher, and I know people are going to go there.
I was already
what happens in prison.
I used to love. I love baseball. I don't like. I'm not a huge fan of watching it. Oh God, I can't really escape this, can I? It's going to go there.
No, you can't. There are so many insertion jokes just from the bat.
I mean,
eject.
Pretty much. Because I love baseball, but my thing has always been that.
Okay, what I really want to hear though is your opinion of the show.
No, we have to talk baseball. I'm just kidding. Okay, so I already said I'm gonna go up to 5.9.
Oh, that's okay. So before we got cut off, like for the second time,
third time
rating. No. The second time, the second time we were all disconnected. Our rating shouldn't be just a flat out rating. It should be the warp scale.
What?
I'm kind of cool with that.
How do you rate this episode? It's about warp 5.
That's right.
Warp 5.5.
Now, are
You
we
want
But,
to
and you
establish
can never
a new-
achieve
alright.
warp 10.
Are we
Well,
going
we
to
can do that.
warp
Warp
10?
You can get close, but you can never achieve warp 10.
Trinity lizards. No, we can't just change it.
Warp
in the middle of the
factor.
show.
What was your warp factor rating here?
You don't have to change it. It's already implied in what we're rating.
All right, son. Going by your standards, I'm going to go with Enterprises. Warp 5 is the tops. There you go. Because I'm not at TOS level, and I'm not Warp 5.
Yeah, but the warp scale is not the warp scale in Enterprise is not that's just the top the engine can go. The warp scale in Enterprise is actually the same warp scale as TNG. Just to let you know. FYI.
I thought it was.
I understand that.
I thought it was the same warp scale as in TOS.
TOS? No, it's not. They actually use the TNG warp scale for it.
That doesn't make any sense.
You guys are meta
I know
screwing
it
with me.
Okay.
A lot,
well, whatever.
A lot of
things
things don't make sense about Enterprise.
Here's the thing. In TOS, that they had their own warp engine, so it could be warp whatever the hell they wanted.
Oh, well, all right. I'm still going to stay. You know what? Let's not change the scale. I'm at, as far as our ratings we've been doing.
We're actually not changing the scale. We're just calling it something different.
Oh,
George.
Well, guess what?
It's still 10 is the top.
We're literally still giving our same scores. It's just you just put warp at the end of it, George.
I'd like to give this episode 6 Arnolds.
Warp 5.9.
5.9.
Okay, there we go. Is that your final answer, George?
Yes. That's my answer. What's yours, Carlos?
I'm still at 6.
Okay.
So we virtually gave it the same.
I'm not changing.
Yeah.
I'm at 6 more Poviches, so that's where I'm at. So we're cool.
And son, what was yours again?
Warp 5. Just flat warp 5.
Warp 5.
Well, just make up our own thing. That's fine. Whatever.
So as we reach the end of the episode,
as
in
we
more
reach
words
the
of Captain Christopher Pike, hit it.
Indeed.
You can find us on Subspace Radio Mondays, 7 p.m. Or 10 p.m. So that's screw it. I'll just put it on the thing. It's subspace-radio.net. I know.
Oh, are you interested in following us on Facebook? We have a Facebook group.
That's right, we do.
The Real TR Super Geeks.
You guys don't need to follow us. We're all scumbag. No, I'm joking. Yes, follow us on Facebook. TR Super Geeks. Oh, no. Well, you can find us on Super Geeks.
Just type Real Super Geeks in the search bar.
It will come, right, exactly.
The Real Super Geeks.
Right, exactly. Just type in Real Super Geeks, you'll find us.
YouTube,
you don't even have to type The Real. You can just type Super Geeks.
You do, however, if you want to go on YouTube, which is where the episodes usually get uploaded, which is The Real Super Geeks. Oh, sorry, TR Super Geeks. My bad. And there's a reason for that. It's a funny story, which, you can listen to some other time. So, yeah, join us on that. Join us on the other. And we'll have other things you can find us on, which will be posted when it's available.
Whenever the hell he feels like it.
Not just when I feel like it, but when it actually exists. That's a different thing.
Yeah, but pretty soon we won't be existing in the UK.
If you keep talking, we might not.
Will have Brexited.
What's going to happen?
I'm here all week, folks.
This is going to be what's going to happen is this show is going to be classified as porn, and people are going to have to buy a license in the UK in order to listen to it. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah, giggle snorts are going to become possible too.
Well, that's in the UK though.
People, Join us next time. That's all I have to say.
Okay.
Bye,
Good
Sean.
night, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Oh, Sean, where can people
Yes.
find your pants on social media?
God, your guess is as good as mine.
Oh, shit.
What, can't they find them on Twitter?
Oh, yeah, probably.
By the way, we do have a Twitter coming. I'm going to make it sometime soon.
I'm over at the X Monitor group and the Real Super Geeks group on Facebook. And
His pants, however, have their own Twitter, right?
well, they have their own AI. It's called Control. So,
Say goodbye, Spock.
goodbye, Spock.
Goodbye, Spock.
Bye, Spock.
Thank you.